Well, we've been teasing you a little bit the last 2 weeks, giving you just a little bit of this cantata. So now we would like to present It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year.
Oh, hi there. Could I interest you in some coffee? Maybe hot chocolate to keep you warm? It shouldn't be too cold out here tonight, but still, something toasty to wrap your hands around is always good. Now, if this were summer, well, I'd offer you ice-cold lemonade or ice cream. I'm here in our little town square pretty much year-round. I carry whatever the season calls for. Everything from sparklers and balloons for the 4th of July to these Christmas star beamers. Since I retired from my full-time job, this is a great way to make extra money. The other perk, well, aside from the fresh air and exercise, is watching the people. I get to know them pretty well. The ones who eat their lunch here every day. The ones who are just catching a breather from the hospital down the street. And the ones who are here tonight to watch our annual town Christmas extravaganza. We put it on every year for the whole town to enjoy. God. I love those songs, don't you? I mean, they just say Christmas to me. I think we might have even been singing those very songs on the night years ago when something amazing took place. That night, the 8-year-old who was supposed to be the little drummer boy in the pageant didn't show up. I think it was something about sticking a Lego up his nose. I don't remember exactly. But there was a woman and her little boy here that night. They'd just come out of the bus terminal over there. I remember it because I watched it all unfold. I could tell when I saw them, they didn't really know where they were going. Somehow the stage manager for the pageant noticed them too. And for some reason, asked the woman if her son might be able to stand in for the show's missing little drummer boy. The costume looked like a perfect fit. All the boy really needed to do was put it on and stand by the major and pretend to play the drum. The mother was a little taken aback, being new in town and all. And she was hesitant. Turned out that the little boy was deaf. There was a device that could help him hear, a cochlear implant. Yeah, those are pretty common now, but they were experimental back then. Her insurance wouldn't approve it, but she'd read an article about a doctor who was doing the implant on kids her son's age right here in our town. So she just quit her job and gotten on a bus with her son and come here. She had no idea how she was going to meet the doctor or how she'd begin to pay for the surgery. But at least she was in the right place. Like Mary and Joseph, she'd made the journey simply on faith that God would help her when she got here.
Sometimes faith will bring you to trust a promise that's illogical. Sometimes faith will lead you to cling to hopes that seem impossible. So often faith looks foolish, a leap into the dark, but that's not how it is for the believing heart. 'Cause when all your dreams have fallen through and your plans come crashing in on you, don't lose hope no matter how it seems. 'Cause faith will hold you closer. Faith will keep you safer. Faith will take you farther than you dream. Doubt will always whisper, there's no one there to catch you when you fall. Fear will come to rob you of any chance to see a miracle. So trust the one who loves you, whose word won't let you down. 'Cause trusting in his grace is where your strength is found. And when all your dreams have fallen through
someone else on the square that night. He was a newspaper man. Years of covering stories about the cruel and ugly things folks do to one another had really taken their toll on him. The fact that his wife had become a follower of Jesus just made it harder. It was like the more she believed, the more he doubted God existed at all. Just that day, his doubts had gotten even worse. If there were a God, wouldn't that God have shown him love instead of giving him more heartache he didn't think he could handle? He would never have admitted it, but he was searching that night, just like the shepherds. He would never have said he was seeking salvation. But like the shepherds, that Christmas Eve had brought him right to the place he needed to be. So, I've told you about the woman and her little boy and the reporter. Oh yes, there was at least one other person who figured into this story, someone who was also facing a crisis. She was involved in the Christmas program. Even though her schedule was busy and demanding, she always carved out time for the Christmas choir because she loved Jesus and she loved to sing. Her name was, let's just call her Mary, because that night she was playing the part of the mother of Jesus. No one knew that just that morning, Mary had been diagnosed with breast cancer. She hadn't told anyone except her husband. The last thing she wanted was to have the focus of the evening on her instead of on the message that was being presented. So she smiled as if nothing were wrong and sang just like she always did, knowing that in the days ahead, she would be facing chemo and surgery to save her life. So there they were, 4 people, a desperate mother and her little boy, a man searching for answers and meaning and hope, a woman of faith who was clinging to the God she had recently come to trust. Somehow God brought all of them to the manger.
Your
say deliverance is exactly the right word to describe what each of these people I told you about needed. After the scene at the manger was over, Mary took the little drummer boy by the hand to make sure he got back to his mother. The two women began to talk, and the story about the little boy's need for the cochlear implant all came out. Mary listened intently and then disappeared into the crowd. Now that reporter, he had overheard the conversation between the two women. And then, even though he considered himself hard-nosed and completely objective, he couldn't help but track Mary down to talk to her. He knew her, maybe better than anyone else. You see, Mary was his wife. The busy schedule she kept was as a celebrated surgeon at the local hospital. The very surgeon the little boy's mother had come to find. Big coincidence, huh? So now the reporter asked Mary, "What are you going to do?" She just smiled and said, "I'm going to give that little boy the surgery he needs." "Even if it means postponing your own cancer treatment?" he asked. He couldn't believe what she was planning. Couldn't believe she would risk her own life this way. But then she turned to him and said, "What about you? You have the means to let everybody in town know about this need. If you wanted to, you could mobilize the entire community to reach out to help this mother and her son. But what are you going to do?"
There
The lessons of that Christmas Eve program still echo in this town. The doctor did postpone her own treatment long enough to perform surgery on that little boy. She donated her skills and her time in a gift of compassion and sacrifice. Her husband, the cynical reporter, he ended up writing the story just the way it had unfolded in front of him. And because of that, the whole community came together to give every penny needed for the boy's hospital care. In the end, he was able to hear. Oh yes, the story is well known in these parts. People refer to it as the miracle on the square. Maybe because that's the title I gave it when I wrote it as a feature in the local newspaper. The funny thing is, to me, the biggest miracle was how God, moving in and through the hearts of people, broke down all the walls this hard-bitten reporter had built up, and he changed my life that Christmas. What happened to the doctor, my beautiful wife? Well, God healed her, and she made a full recovery. I retired from the newspaper business a few years back, and now I spend all the time I can raising money for other kids who need surgery they can't afford. In fact, if any of you would like to purchase a cup of coffee or hot chocolate, or maybe one of these snazzy Christmas star beamers, well, that's where all the money goes. Maybe tonight you're here hoping to be delivered. You've got a huge need that you're praying God will meet, like that young mother and her son. Or you need physical healing, like the doctor. Or like me, maybe you need God to touch your heart with the reality of His love and grace. The whole Christmas story is about God coming close and reaching out to meet the needs of people like you. If you open your heart and let Him, God will make this a Christmas to remember, the most wonderful time of this year or any year.
This was a beautiful, thoughtful time. And Rosie, we thank you and the choir. A lot of work went into this, and God has spoken through us. At least to me he has, and I hope he has to you. This was about the Christ who said, I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, even though he die, yet shall he live. And he proved it by going into the grave and through it and coming back. And you know, the people that met him and trusted him, these farmers and fishermen and tax collectors and blacksmiths, they went into the world and turned over the greatest empire that had ever existed, the Roman Empire, because this man told them to go, this Lord that came to us. And you know, the great thing is, he still speaks to us today. It may be your child looking up at you and saying, well, Daddy, what is God like? And you think, man, I don't have any answer for that. I'll get back to church and see, and the living Lord becomes real to you. D. James Kennedy, one of the greatest ministers we've had, did the witnessing program we all know about. He was playing in a band and he was hung over from Saturday night, sleeping in a hotel here in Tampa, and the clock radio came on, and a voice came and said, before he could turn it off, because he didn't like church, if you were to die today and stand before God, what would you tell him you had done that you were worthy of coming in? And he was converted through a radio. Some people watch a television program and just a thing catches them, and they say that's right. Some people hear music, and through it the voice of God. And the great thing about God that I love so much about him, he's always looking for us. We don't go looking for him so often, but every crack he can get through, he wants you to know his voice and his heart and his love. So it's not fair to end this without giving you an invitation. The choir has given the message so beautiful. God has spoken, I'm sure. Your heart's warm. And two things. One is, to some of you, he has said, you need me. You've known about me. You've walked around the edges. You've looked at me. But you need me as your Lord and as your Savior. And I'll walk with you through the valley of the shadow of death. I'll be with you. I'll be your friend. I'll be your Lord. And some of you have already done that. But you need a spiritual home where there are brothers and sisters that feel just like you do about God, that he's your Father and he's wonderful and we're his children now. He's given us a second birth and it's wonderful. And he's saying to you, you need a church. You need God's people, God's family. And I invite you, if he's called you to be his child and to really find salvation, really life afresh, as he said, life abundant. I want you to come. There'll be people to talk to you down here when you come. And if you need a church, we want you to come. Be part of us. Be part of the family of God. So as we stand and sing our hymn of invitation, I invite you to come, and I'll be down front to meet you. This is a great day. You come.